Greetings, mortal.
Hey, what's going on, Xavier? How you doing, brother?
Well, quite good, I would say.
I like the Devil May Cry Dante blood red coat there. Xavier, right now, I hear a raven's call. Master, this mortal shell, it suffices not to talk to your greatness. I feel a raven's call. Master!
Answer the call to darkness.
I feel your power, Master! I feel it!
Resist not.
Master, I can't! My mortal shell cannot withstand!
Yes, I will await patiently, yes. I have quite a bit in store for you, mortal.
Hell yeah. This party's only just starting to get crazy. Oh, 1 second. I need to get my gloves of +2 grip that you've lent me. 1 moment, Master.
Do not worry about the white stains on those gloves, especially the left one. The grip was used. It was most useful, but it's not for the kind of thing that you're thinking. I was mostly using it to paint Warhammer figurines. That's why the left glove has that residue. It's glue.
I spoke with the Soda Man to see if he was still in the woods in the neck of woods of Schitty. He had departed today, so seeing if there was maybe a guest that could drop you a good zip as we spoke.
Oh, I have plenty of that, don't I?
Oh, excellent,
Yes.
excellent.
I should have thought to ask him myself if he wished to be a part of this.
As we spoke of earlier, of course, it would be quite a bit to get everybody's schedules together, and we will reunite the warriors of Schitty.
Whether they like it or not, they will be beckoned to the call of adventure. Yes, quite.
Master, your power always just enthralls me.
Now tell me, are we ready in earnest?
We are ready, Master. Of course.
Glance upon my kingdom and weep, for its glory shall know no equal. This is the whole of law, and that of my will. You see this great expanse stretching out before you. I walk the lands once more, and indeed, new lands perhaps. Not new to thine, but perhaps to me. See, a vampire cannot enter an abode uninvited, but I have found myself an invitation of sorts. So why don't we step into a place that may feel familiar to thee, and have ourselves a nice little chat?
I feel I've seen glimpses of this place in recent nightmares.
Yes, of course. The nightmares of one fabled dark one that soon became entranced in a web of schemes laid by myself. Yes, of course. I know of whom you speak.
Absolutely.
How could I not know of the illustrious Redguard in his former abode here? But yes, this was once the border forbidden truce, you see. I wish that when the former circus was still ongoing, I could have taken a more direct intervention, you see. There were many days that he slumbered in peace, that I stood on this very balcony here. Most people not know that this place existed, which made it for a perfect entrance point. And before anyone comments, I was not watching while he was jerking himself off. I would averted my gaze from that. And I don't want to hear any sort of thing otherwise. Now, you see this rudimentary elevator of sorts here. This, I believe, was once used. I had to be very careful to not fall many times. This was once used by the former resident here. And I found that when he was slumbering in this little room of his, it was quite easy for me to just take a ride up, because this was outside of the view of the ravens, and just sit here. I got so close. I had my magic mirror in my palm, watching the raven's eye in this room, watching him sleep.
What's up, what's going on?
Hey Burt, can you hear me? Am I audible to you?
Fuck, yes.
And I stood right here, mere feet from him. My hand trembled, as if wondering if I could dare open the gate to this new realm. And so many times I became so damned close. But I could not. As I say to the vampire, I cannot enter uninvited. And the agreements made binding me, the pact of the initiative group, demanded that I could not intervene as directly as I'd wished to. I had to send veiled words. I was not allowed to, you see, intervene more directly. The binding pacts of the initiative group held me astray. Yes, and I had to only communicate with this one Burt. through coded messages and letters, as if a king sending missives to a spy, highly encrypted. But so many times I stood out here, waiting for an opportunity. When they were distracted enough, they would not see my silent entry. As there were many words I wish to have with this one, you see.
I'm enraptured. And what doth be thy name, traveler?
My name is Burt, B-U-R-T, like Black Urban Rip Trainer.
And there still is. I'm sure he will hear word of our audience. I'm not done with that one. Regardless, Rezavier, why don't you sit down with me and we can initiate this tea ceremony that we've discussed. You've read the rules for the tea ceremony on the Discord pinned message, correct? You've read the codes of conduct?
You know, of course I have, Master. I read everything you send me, but for anyone who might not be informed, for anyone who might not be your #1 acolyte, please break it down for them so that way they would know. Because I already know.
Of course, what a trifling matter. I will work to elucidate to these swine. Now, you see, it begins with a bottle of fine sake. So I pick this brand because I actually fucked that girl multiple times. Before this guy did. This guy actually fucked her afterwards, after she was already used up, so to speak. So having known that I fucked this girl, I decided that it would be wise for this to be my wine of choice, you see. And you see, you begin, simply pour the mixture here. There was also one interesting matter. One interesting matter was that there was in those little share in the dresser over there, I found a large collection, and this is not a joke, a large collection. What were they? White Claws? Whatever that gay guy beverage is. It seemed that Burt has been stashing or hoarding them. On the dawn of the final day, I came up here, you see, after all of the Raven's eyes were disabled, and I just looked around a little bit. And it smelled unbelievably putrid, like a putrid Greek woman had just tried to cut her nails, and the fungus was, it was unbelievable. But one of the things I found looking around and looting as I would do, is a collection of White Claws that were stashed, buried in that dresser over there, next to where he slept, which is strange because I believe that Burt does not imbibe spirits. But that's just some little lore. That's some environmental storytelling, the kind that we love.
Did Burt have a specific smell to him? He seems of someone that might have a specific red gauze smell that might still linger in that room as you sit there.
Well, by the time that I met him in person, it was outside and my nose was practically frozen, so I wasn't quite aware. But the room, it was a body odor, and it smelled a bit like rotting urine, something like that.
Ugh.
It was something I've never smelled before in my life. There was nothing I could really even compare it to.
Was it like hay? Like barn hay?
Maybe. Perhaps. I don't know. That crackhead didn't smell.
Your time on BitchTank was quite hilarious, quite exciting. But what would you have done to that wretched, stinky, pee-pee spilling crackhead should Scott the Warrior not have tackled him and subdued him first? What fate did that crackhead hold?
No, because you've been here 9 years. Shut the fuck up. Okay, shut the fuck again, bro. Shut the fuck up again.
I actually prepared a spell for this occasion, you see. I know a spell that's capable of transporting, sort of teleporting Narcan into his bloodstream. It's a restoration spell. And this would have potentially two effects. Either the sudden withdrawals would be so strong as to kill him immediately, or it would immediately make him normal. And he would instantly have a good haircut and a button-up shirt and a job at Citibank. Either way, he would be of no threats to me. So that, you saw me wiggling my fingers a bit in the tape. Maybe you could play that. You saw when he approached me, I began wiggling my fingers. And that was me attempting to begin the spell, but Scott stole my kill. And that's something I'm not really happy about. But regardless.
There is a secret technique move I'm sure you would have unleashed with your blade, your Raven's blade.
Well, the blade is only necessary in certain circumstances. Most foes are not worth me even drawing my sword. And so the spell itself, it's a simple incantation. I would simply mutter something in Yiddish, and then the spell would take effect. Everyone knows Yiddish is the language of the occult mysteries. It's not something I wish to demonstrate here because the people on the other end, most of my fans are mentally ill drug addicts. And so if I were to cast a spell now, I could have a few deaths on my hands. And I've been told by a lawyer to not cast any more spells through YouTube.
Yes, that can be quite the ways of the...
We haven't done the tea ceremony. I told you that if you didn't do the tea ceremony with me, that you wouldn't continue to be yellow roll in the Discord. Now, hold on. Let us toast. We're here. Now, we're doing this remote, so let us clink it together. And let's toast here. Okay. Yes, you have a Stanley Cup. Yes, perfect. Not at all immersion breaking. I told you that I gave you the Amazon link for the tea sets that we're using, and you show up with a fucking Stanley Cup.
Well, it was either that or it was the N7 or the Afterlife shot cup that I have from Mass Effect video game franchises, okay? I'm working with what I can, Master. I'm sorry.
Really tired of you. No, you don't have. I understand your seriousness. This is the 37th time you've threatened to kill yourself as a matter of apology. I don't believe this will be necessary. Now quit being a drama queen.
Last we spoke, Master Xavier, I had a question of how you were created or how you were manifested. The people would love to know where the Ravenblood has come from. How could someone so powerful simply be born or manifested?
Did you not read have you not read the lore? What are you...
Master, of course, I have always read the lore, Master, but all viewers here, there are some that are very insignificant and they don't know how to read because all they read is 4chan and Reddit subquotes, and all they'll know is maybe even, if but one page of your lore, sir. So this is just to simply educate those basement-dwelling gooners who might not know much of your history.
Yes, I see. Well, look, I suppose I could consider it an act of charity, perhaps. So let me pull up here where... Hold on. I've been reading Rising of the Shield Hero again here. And let me navigate away from that tab. The manga has begun to finally catch up with the fucking web novel, which I finished reading like 4 years ago. So there's at least some manga panels of the final events, but at least on Manga Kakalot, I don't know. I don't know about the other sites.
They took like 5 fucking years to make season 2, so it was like, dude, everybody forgot by now. What the fuck?
It's really a shit. Well, I don't forget. I mean, I don't know. That's one of the works that that stuck with
memory, me. So of course you don't forget anything. You've retained thousands of years of information and skills. That's not surprising, Master.
Yeah, naturally, yes, quite.
How were you created or manifested? Because one so great as yourself, the immense power that you hold, I can't imagine some mortal shell or maybe even some inferior waifu woman being able to hold within her inferior womb your superior power.
Now, let me see if I can find the chapter in the document of the backstory that would answer your question. It was how I was created. Well, I'm trying to find... There's a lot of scrolling that I've been doing. This is a long document. Okay. I believe this is a chapter. Okay. So I'll just read it aloud, and that should answer questions better than me just telling you. I think that should... Okay, let's see. Vendetta Blade Sparrow put the technology cube inside of the plasma duct. She said, the plasma duct normally takes 6.2 seconds to either fuse the cube, she said. Her spacesuit was a sexy thong, and you could see her boobs really well in it too. I merely smirked. Anyway, I'm talking about her tits. She's the real sexual dynamo, just waiting to be unlocked by her sultry advances. Okay, maybe that chapter was not the one that answered your question. I think I had it mistaken for a different chapter. I could have sworn that was the page that I had this information on. Well, regardless, I'm sure that you can find it if you do a Control F on the PDF that I sent you. The PDF is 0.9 gigabytes of the black story, so the Control F may take a while. But if you're using like something like grep, which I hope you are, and not just a Windows fucking Adobe bullshit, then you should be able to find it. Does that answer your question satisfactorily?
Let's see. No.
Oh, well, I tried. I'm not perfect. Everyone has flaws.
That doesn't answer my question, because what it does is answers more questions. Now,
see, this is why I like you, Xavier, is you're able to see parts of my brilliance even in my myriad failures.
Do you think you have failures? You jest. Oh, yes.
To see if there's any more fucking White Claw. White Claws? Whatever that gay guy beverage is.
Now, we're diving into your history, Master, but there is rumor on the internet, as I did a little bit of research about you. I'm not sure if you're familiar, but some people know a little bit about your past that you might not know is out there on the internet. Is it true that you had to kill your own father, much like Itachi Uchiha, because he feared your power?
I'm actually not entirely sure which father or which lifetime. This is a question, this is a problem. People have a lot, because I've had many lifetimes. That is a question that somewhat personal to me. It's something that I honestly, I'm not sure if I should be disclosing too much of that. My out-of-game father has asked me to stop writing chapters where I killed fictional fathers that all happen to have the same real first name as he does in real life. He's been asking me to stop doing that, and in a bid to be invited back to the home at some point, I just don't want to perpetuate this problem further. That's part of the reason I'm here. I can't really go home. I mean, technically I could. It's just that there's a lot of personal matters I'd rather not deal with. That'll just slow me down. A pastor-mate romantic relationship, that's just a real hassle. And then my family dynamics. I mean,
bitches
my dad,
crazy.
I think my real father thinks I'm still job hunting. And that's fine. The longer I can keep him thinking that, the better. Because I will still get some small amount of money to pay for my rent, which is free, because I'm staying here. They let me stay here. I think I glossed over that, and that's sort of an important thing that many people wouldn't know. Maybe I should talk about that a bit. The fact that I'm just staying here now, perhaps. You see, I made a deal with production that I could stay on this property and live here in exchange for working full-time on various Blood Games related productions. The only stipulation is that I am not allowed to walk within 100 feet or so of the house that Ben and Jet live in, which is a separate building on the property, you see. I'm not allowed to touch any of the cameras or the equipment that's still here. I don't know why it's still here. They've assured me that they're not recording me. I mean, I don't know why I would doubt to that. They still have all the microphones and everything. I mean, it probably wouldn't be very interesting to watch me just sitting in front of a laptop for 12 hours a day and then going to bed at 3 a.m. after attempting to microwave food and failing because the microwave is still broken. But anyway, there's also another rule that we sort of agreed upon, is that I'm only allowed to text Jet or Ben once per day, which I generally do, asking if they could get me some food, if you're running to the gas station, if you could get me some chips or something, which often is not reciprocated or ignored, but I have a lot of space here. I have a great deal of space.
Yes, you can practice all of your moves.
Exactly, yes. And this has been I've done a lot of, like, Prince of Persia, like, hanging on the other side of this.
That is where the epic battles took place.
Yes, of course, yes. Well, it's a good place to practice, and they have a gym and everything. There's a lot of space here, and there's a lot of gaming computers still in the production room. They don't care if I use them. And they have high-speed internet here, too. So, I mean, look at this fucking thing.
God.
I've never seen some Cat 6 cables in my life. Look at this shit. I don't know the specific service level agreement that the ISP is running at this location. I mean, I frankly don't care. Yes. I just know that I get a good ping.
God damn, that shit looks beastly.
It's great. I mean, it's a real fun time. They still have all the swords and everything, so I can just kind of hang out. I've been here for many months, because I initially moved in here, you see, because I found that the camper grew too cold, and they weren't using this building. Now, the problem is having to find food. Yes. I'm playing, like, PUBG in real life. I have to scavenge every day because there's some things here. There's some things but I mean, look at this.
They have to at least have a pack or two of all that fucking jello that they put into pretty much goop.
Well, this is the problem. I've mostly been subsisting off ramen, and because the expiration dates on these are pretty good. It's not just that I like ramen. This is actually, I prefer maritime, but the expiration dates for these are like 2027. Now, a lot of the food, though, they have all this food here, and this, if you can read that, this expired already. This expired like a year ago.
God damn.
And a lot of the food is expired. So a lot of my day is spent just sort of going around and seeing if I can scavenge for food or macronutrients. And they have let me see here. They have these pre-prepared meals. These meals here.
Yes.
So there's a lot of work to just assemble. This is going to be my lunch here. There's a soup that is not expired, and then some ramen.
An Xavier mukbang.
Yeah, something like that. And so this has been there for a few months now. This has been there for 3 or 4 months on the floor. Now, often Jet or Ben will be nice enough to take some of the food that's about to expire at their house, and they'll leave it outside for me. And it's usually not in the trash bin. It's just sort of in the driveway. And so every morning, usually what I do is I go around and I try to find, maybe they gave me some beans that expired yesterday, or they gave me some bread that only has a little bit of mold in it. And that's fine. I'm fine with that.
Hey,
What are your thoughts on Alex B and his monkeys?
Well, I'm not as familiar with this one as the others, but I did quite like him. I saw some of myself in him. What's funny is that I knew of his guild in the Elder Scrolls Online before I knew of him as a person. So it was kind of like worlds clashing there. Oh, he was in this guild, we should go and prank them and give them a hard time. So I don't really want to publicize it further, but I'm aware of some of his gaming pursuits before I actually knew him as a human.
What the fuck? Alex B is an actual gamer? What the fuck? I thought he was just like an ex-heroin addict.
Well, I mean, those are not mutually exclusive. There's actually a lot of crossover.
Yes. Apparently, jeez.
This is actually a mythic rare rose that Ali bought for me during the sale a long time ago, maybe 9 months ago. And it was never delivered, but after the cameras were cut, Jet and Ben actually gave me this. So you were not scammed, Ali. I did receive the rose. I think this is the 5th or 6th $70 plastic rose that she bought for me. So currently she's doing well in my mind.
Okay, well I will play the TTS sound and we'll be sure to give her a shout out there. And also, Ali, she was your #1 fan asking every goddamn day in every fucking post that I ever made, regardless of the social media platform, Xavier podcast when? When will Xavier be here? I'm waiting for the master. Is this real? Is this happening? Everybody would doubt that it would happen, and here we are for a second time.
Yes, I think antagonizing the people who are beating down your door and making fun of them is probably the best. That's one thing I started doing. It's like negging, sort of. I do that with my fans and my audience. And this leads them to sort of seek me out further. It's a manipulation tactic that I've learned because John gave me this book on how to deal with women. And it's something that I started thinking, well, perhaps this could apply to parasocial relationships as well. So that's the sort of strategy I've been doing. And it's also because I honestly get bored of this. People wonder, well, where were you the last 6 months? I was mostly playing video games. And for a while, I was helping renovate a friend of mine's basement. We were putting up taping and mudding and drywall. But yes, if you can wait a second, I should actually text Jet now. Because just give me a moment. I forgot to do that earlier because I'm hoping that he can drive me to the gas station to get some more food. Hold on. Because I don't actually have a car or a valid license anymore, so I'm kind of like stranded here. Most of the welfare money I receive or the rent from my father, I put towards Uber Eats, sort of doing a bit of scavenging here.
Yes, donate now.
Okay, sorry, I just had to get to that percent. I don't know if he's awake yet. Yeah, it's only 3 p.m.
Duke, you're the one who created the Museum of Shit in your manor. Those glass display cases smelled the most foul indeed with all the smearing.
Xavier, if there was a boxing match between you and the Duke, what do you think the outcome would be? Many are curious.
This is a good question. Now, I think if it was a kickboxing match, I would stand a good chance. Because I have a lot of expertise in it. You could see during the fight with Tai, why don't I demonstrate a bit? During the fight with Tai, you could see at one point I sort of raised a knee like that while advancing. I raised my knee and switched my stance into that because I'm so used to kickboxing. That's really most of where I train. I'm actually quite flexible. I can reach quite high, quite easily. And that was without stretching or warming up or anything. And so me and the Duke actually did at once duel in the way of the fist and the foot. And I nearly bested him. I was able to get my foot all the way up near his head. And if I had not pulled back, I would have struck true and struck with much strength, you see. However, later in that same match, he nearly took my head off with a right. So I believe in a regular boxing match, he would clearly win of his unmatched stature. But kickboxing, I believe I would. And now this is some lore I'll tell that is not many people know of. I won an arm wrestling match with him once. We were at a gymnasium, you see, and there was this large rapper figure who was there with glasses, and there was a smaller rapper figure there who was almost the opposite of the former one in terms of his stature and weight, who was also a rapper who had glasses. People probably know who I'm talking about. And they witnessed me actually defeat him in arm wrestling. However, later that same week, he then defeated me. So I would say we are actually remarkably tied and even. I think it depends on which exactly type of combat that we would be doing. Who would truly win?
Yes.
And therefore, this is a question that is often asked, such as, could Naruto defeat Goku? That's why there are all these forum posts discussing, well, perhaps Goku's power can only be unlocked in the later phase of the fight. He has to charge up and everything, but Naruto can strike swiftly. These are the sort of debates that keep anime roleplay forums lively. And those are the sort of debates that I like. But yet, as I wander in my verbiage, I believe I've answered your question nonetheless.
Absolutely.
Perhaps you have another thing.
Fishtank Blood Games 2 needs you. Being a video game hero is boring. The real fun is being an NPC.
Have you ever wanted to bludgeon a contestant with a broadsword?
Or drink mead in the tavern and say slurs about elves?
We offer an unpaid quest to come play pretend in the woods with us. Room and board included. Background extras wanted. Come and be an N-word. That means NPC. Type the link there or go to my Twitter and do that. But apply, please. I'm begging you. I'm so lonely.
Hi, I'm Rez, and I want to be on Fish Tank. I am Rez, R-E-Z, Raging Energetic Zen Master. I'm a voice actor, entertainer, fucking... What the what? Voice actor, editor, entertainer. Why the fuck would I not be on Blood Games? Why should I be on Blood Games 2? Well, there's many a reason. There is a tale from my past where actually, and that is when he decided to train me and gave me the mask of Xavier, this amazing badass Yamato blade. This is actually genuine as fuck. This is insane. This literally slices reality. I am honored, but I will never, ever forget the way DJ squandered Master's power and gifts. Yes, if you must know, DJ is like my liquid snake. Except I'm still better because I'm like Solid Snake, Naked Snake, and Liquid Snake all put together. But if you added like Raiden when he's like cyborg badass ninja Raiden, that's like me. I'm like an amalgamation of all of them put together with a little hint of Dante and Virgil as well.
You're sitting on the couch right now and you're just watching streams. Life is just passing you by. You keep procrastinating over and over. Oh, maybe I'll go to school next year. Maybe I'll go to school next semester. No, you won't. You're gonna watch Fishtank.Live. You can watch it after work and you can watch it before work. You can do whatever you need to do to watch Fishtank.Live. Buy a season pass right now. Day out here to help you. You spend all day on the computer anyhow, so why don't you make a purchase that's gonna help you in your future? All you gotta do is go to Fishtank.Live and buy the pass. Why are you making it complicated? It's easy. Maybe, just maybe, instead of holding back your kick, maybe at the end of the day you knew. Let me not sever the head with my foot of the person who showers me with gold.
And perhaps he felt the same. History will never quite know who would be the victor. All I know is what history has already spoken of my defeat finally of him in the Blood Games, although he humiliated me so many times. But even the Blood Games, it is not clear who won, as though I am the victor and the survivor, my ego is severely damaged. I feel my pride is hurt. I feel it aching within my dark heart. But yes, unfortunately I cannot give you a clear answer.
That actually fills me with rage, for he actually did a little bit of modding and cheating by corrupting you at the end. Much like corrupted Virgil when he was Nelo Angelo, it's not that he was dead or lost. He was simply using his powers in another direction. So it's not that you lost, Master. There just have to be a continuation.
Indeed, yes. The reason that I initially started on the Duke's side, and then it grew towards the adventurer's side and switched sides mid-fight. Many don't understand, because they don't think like a Machiavellian villain sitting in a castle. But this was a calculated gambit, you see. All part of the cunning plan. Here was the calculus of said logic. I begin the battle on his side, as odds favor him as the victor. And if I expected the outcome to be that he defeated the adventurers, which initially I would expect, then, once the battle had ended and they were vanquished, I could claim to the Duke, well, yes, I helped you, of course. I was just pretending to be a bitter loser who was jealous of you and wanted to outdo you because I'm just insecure. I could just say that and he would believe such an unbelievable lie. What a falsehood, clearly. But he would believe it. However, what happened instead was the adventurers began to get the better of him. And so I stopped play acting as if I was fighting alongside the Duke, and I truly began to unleash my full power against him. And now, once I saw where the tides were turning, I knew that he would be vanquished. and I sided with the victors. And once they left, the realm was mine. So you see, this calculated gambit, I win either way. This, you see, is the true logic of my decisions, which many do not understand. But to those who pay close attention to the deep storytelling of the rich characterization of the tale will understand, of course, my strategy.
He means me. I will always understand every move that he's doing. I will study that, actually, yes.
Of course, of course.
We've talked about your prowess in combat and in magic. I must ask, Xavier, what can you not do? That's the question.
It's a question that perhaps we will die without ever knowing.
Now, speaking of death, was it you that took out Jedediah Goldstriker? Or was it simply a case of some bad old gator juice that he got down from them swamps?
Of course. Well, Jedediah, you see, the one they call Goldstriker, his grave was in Schitty, in fact. I found it so funny that Burt, when he entered Schitty, he walked right past the grave of the founder who had started the entire operation so many hundreds of years ago. It was ironic that he sought the answer, but they remained buried beneath his feet. This I found very funny, of course. But it was not I who slew him. No, this isn't often. Anytime someone strong dies, they think I did it. I myself am not terribly aware of how he met his demise. I have certainly felt the shadowy influence of the initiative group myself, as all have, and I was dragged into one of their twisted experiments at one point. But I have only heard rumors, one of which is that the judge himself has faked his own death in order to get the heat off him, so to speak, and escaped to his native homeland of Israel. I am not sure as much if that is the truth or merely another fanciful tale a peasant would weave to explain their own ignorance. Unfortunately, it is one riddle I cannot answer for you, as it was far before my time.
Well, you see, my penis is something of a guarded treasure, for my lineage is very important.
Do you ever see a day where you see yourself settling down with a nice waifu and having a set of twin boys who you can pass down a fraction of your power to, and maybe even some blades that possess your inner power down to them?
This is such a silly thing people speak of. Many people hear these fanciful fantasy tales where the inheritors compete and only the worthy remains, or something silly of the sort. This is pure fiction. You must understand. It is not realistic at all when it comes to dynastic royalty. You see, the reality is a lot less glamorous. Many people do not think of the day-to-day lives. Hold on. There's...
These gobs,
I was choking myself to death on one of the Ricola cough drops that I take for my vaping addiction, and its damage it does to my throat. As I was saying, you see, having dealt with family politics in the Gildstraven clan for so long, all the bullshit, infighting over who would be the worthy heir, I don't want my children to deal with that. I had enough arguments with Aunt Susan over Thanksgiving over who gets to inherit the Bloodthorn throne and the slaves and the Demon Kid, and after many hundreds of hours wargaming the Crusader 2 Kings 2 Elder Kings mod, which anyone seeing this should try downloading it at once. I use this as a sort of stratagem to find a way to best metagame the succession crises and mechanics and how to best navigate them. I worked out a system of sorts, you see. You see, the main reason I had so many Ys is to ensure that eventually, through statistical probability, it would inevitably generate a worthy heir. I don't have a harem for the purposes of sex. In fact, I've retired from having sex. I sort of just hit the skill ceiling and got bored after a while. I will admit, I was doing a John McAfee-style sing for a while, but it just gets old. But for years,
it seems like
I was
you've reached the point of Greg Hellsing. You've had so much sex and dominated so much waifu tang that you've converted a complete 360 and made yourself asexual.
It's not that, it's just that I'm just too cool to even care about whether or not women reject me. I'm just so cool that I don't even care. And it's actually, the fact that I'm not even trying at all actually means that I'm the coolest guy. Because if I don't even try, then I could never get rejected. And in fact, my image of myself remains untarnished. So it's actually because I'm a genius that I get to know pussy. It's actually because I'm a brave genius who's figured it all out, like the Matrix. But yeah, so I did go through this tiresome process of collecting women and impregnating them and blah, 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 and all this work. The problem is that women have a hard time understanding my brilliance, and they kept citing me as being, emotionally unavailable and this and that. And I tried to keep this information from them. I really tried. But let me tell you, once all of those maidens found out the family court system existed in medieval time, it was all over. It was so over. Okay. It has never been more over. Therefore, one of the reasons I'm living in this place now, and prior to that a camper, was that I had to sell a lot of my gear. actually.
Yes.
Most of my finances were tied intricately with Schitties, and I had to take out a lot of money out of the town treasury to pay child support fees. I didn't even talk about the economic crisis in Schitty. It reminds me to mention that later. I will ramble, I'm sure. I have more I feel I should say about the child situation, because I think a lot of people have asked me that, and it's something I do want to give an answer to. Yeah, because you see, a lot of the people that will be watching this are actually my children. You see, a lot of them are now grown up enough, and actually about 25% probably of the Xavier Ravenblood official Discord are actually my children.
But they don't have like a fraction of your power, right? Like, that's just me, right?
Oh, well, no.
Okay, yes.
Of course, and that was all because of the women's fault. It's not because I have some sort of, I've jacked off too much and my semen has degraded. It's not. It's because of the women and the barren wombs. But the problem is that I had so many children, the travel time became too prohibitive. I started treating child visitation like a work from home job. So that's why I started the Discord. I have a Roblox server now with a 256 slot Roblox server. That's all of my children hang out in. And once a day or so, I'll join and talk with them. And often they grief me. Often they spawn kill me. Often they prop minge when I've been prop minged by many of my sons, and it's frankly fucking embarrassing and annoying. Regardless,
well, you're in charge of the voice chat.
Well, of course, yes. So they have no chance but to listen to me speak. They can't talk so much. But I really tried to find a way to groom them to be better hares. It's really a shame.
Yes.
That's why I left to my Discord. I got tired of trying to wrangle and groom them. So I just gave control of the Xavier Discord over to some racist guy who plays Marwins too much. So shout out Scrib. Because I felt that type of person would most accurately represent my interests, after spending maybe 10 minutes talking to him. Unfortunately, it actually has a lot of drama over the years, a lot of leaked DMs and clicks. I just ended up recreating the same family dynamic I grew up with, only on Discord this time. It's really one of the failures I lament. My next thought was, I need to come up with a better system than this. I realized that I need to be more discerning with what women I pick. Mm-hmm. I need to find a way to test and vet them to make sure they're worthy of my seed.
But of course.
So more recently, I constructed several dungeons and pyramids specifically to store vials of my semen.
Yes.
The purpose of this was to ensure that the only person who could receive my seed would be a strong and sexy woman adventurer who could defeat all 10 levels of the dungeon.
And be able to
Many champions have died.
as well.
Yes, well, there is a lot of traps, and not to the gay kind. I know that people are going to snipe that to try to make a cheap joke, but I'm not into that. I've seen ReZero, and I do not jack off to Felix. I'm just going to put this out there, sort of cutting that off at this pass, so to speak. But yes, indeed, many champions tried to raid my cum pyramids in sort of a national treasure style way, or like an Indiana Jones type thing. When the cum pyramids were first constructed, I paid actually a social media marketing company to spread rumors that the pyramids contained great treasure. I needed a way to get the word out and hoped that these targeted advertisements would reach maybe a goth girl with bangs who happened to also know how to use a Buster Sword. Mm-hmm. So for a few years, there were a bunch of Indian guys writing promoted tweets advertising all the great treasure and targeting the ads towards half-Asian women with thigh gaps. I'm sure I don't need to tell you by now, this didn't really work. Instead, most of the adventurers who came and raided the pyramids ended up being men, only to be greatly disappointed when they defeated the boss and opened the boss chest and just found vials and vials of cum, some of which were just stuck between manga pages. And it made me feel kind of silly because I felt attacked that they didn't see the value in my seed. Many people started calling me gay, that all these men were raiding my tomb and touching my seed. It did feel uncomfortable to me. I felt violent.
I did hear Burt say that he hinted some queer vibes there. It's probably from Burt starting those rumors. He kept saying that he hinted some queer vibes.
Yes, but that's like a raccoon, like a raccoon thinking that it smells a raccoon. It's all he can detect is queer vibes because he is himself like a fucking Hiroshima of queer vibes. They're all around him at all times. That's all he sees. He's blinded by it.
Quite the epitome.
I hold in my hand never-before-seen court documents that prove DJ Akademiks covered up the...
What spawned your beef with DJ Akademiks? You apparently have a quarrel, a standoff, a beam standoff. You seem at odds with DJ Akademiks. What spawned this?
Well, you see, this man, I recently am trying to learn about what black people are, and this is mostly in order to ameliorate and dissuade concerned voice that I am mean to them, just because I keep depicting the orcs and ogres in my tabletop convenes with a urban voice, urban cadence, so to speak.
Like how?
Well, I don't think I should be doing that because my former Discord that I played the game with got very mad at me.
It's okay, they're not here. This is our realm. We can hear.
Listen, I don't want to give those people any more. I'm trying to mend relationships here, and people have told me that imitation is the surest form of flattery. So for now, really, the best tactic I could think of is to try to do reconnaissance on them and try to understand their ways in order to best respect them better.
I just really think it's important that you show us what you mean by talking like them. I just think that's very important.
Well, I'm not sure. I get what you're trying to do. I see you're trying to lower me into some sort of trap. We're not playing chicken with the N-word here, because I did that with Greg already. We already did that bit. And you saw the outcome of that. I'm trying to get some round here. I sought their cultural icons, of which I suppose he is one, a bard or something.
Yes.
And I found this scandalous information about him and some sexual misconduct. So I thought, well, maybe I will publish this and act as sort of a journalist. And bring the truth of his misdeeds to light and be regarded as a hero. And this was mostly just an attempt to make black friends. It's broken. It's still broken. I could speak more about Burt. I've been wanting to get a chance to do that, actually, if you would allow me to ramble further.
Of course, I have many inquiry about Burt, because what was it like to be the first one to take him outside of Schitty and actually meet the man himself?
It was good. You see, I tried. I'm not sure how transparent it was. I felt it was maybe too transparent, but I was trying to sort of lower him into my jurisdiction, because at the time, the house was... Listen, the initiative group has pretty stringent declinations of where various regions begin and end, and this was not part of my demesne, to use medieval royalty terms. This house was actually like a neighboring kingdom that I was on good relations with, but I wasn't allowed here. But I thought, well, this man manifests to me as a wonderful candidate and one I'd like to spend more time with and get to know, because I saw a lot of myself in him. It's the only ones that I knew of. Well, there was a time in community college that I was watching Dragon Ball Z in the rec room, and there were a bunch of black people sitting there, and they were very into it. They were very energetic, and every time Goku would punch someone through a mountain, they would go like, oh no, he didn't just do that. Did you see that? You see that? Did you see that? Damn! They would go like that, and it made it more interesting to watch. I mean, I wish I could just have black people with me every time I watch anime. I got really into it. It was like having a live studio audience. But aside from that, I just felt that there wasn't a lot in common I had. But I saw Burt, and I thought, okay, he is black.
Yes.
But he is also autistic and possesses a crippling masturbation addiction. And he aspires to be a dark villain. So clearly we have a lot in common. And I found that he would also take everything I say very seriously, as if it were life or death. I often would, when I would run my tabletop campaigns, I would leave, that's my rum. I would leave all these hints of a greater story, a mystery, strewn throughout the subtext, and many players would fail to recognize this subtext. But he really paid attention. It turns out that you should, if any DM out there wants to know how to get the players more invested in your story, find a schizophrenic friend, and then maybe a gay friend, and hint at gay sex a lot in the plot, just to get him hooked. I'll have to take the long way down past the production room, I guess. I just walked past the production room, and I wanted to peek the camera inside a bit and give people a view.
Oh, hell yeah.
But it's not terribly important. It's just a bunch of gaming computers and a pile of shit on the floor.
Yeah, it looks like a recording studio down there or something. It's pretty fucking cool.
Yes, but yes, I quite liked Burt. I really did. So that's why I brought him out, is I wanted to lure him into my jurisdiction. I was hoping to just recruit him right then and there for Blood Games 2, because technically he's within my realm. And it took a while. It took a lot of little clues. I had to really sneak under Jet and Ben's nose to get those notes to him and lure him like a breadcrumb trail until finally he was out there. But then he was spirited away back in here. And at this point, I'm bored enough that I would have taken him as a roommate, because I'm just sitting out there. At the time, I was sitting out in the camp alone. And can you fucking imagine what a bad roommate? Exactly, yes. Can you fucking imagine how many times I would walk on him cranking his putrid pecker? And even that I was willing to put up with, because I was so bored and lonely. It really was something. It's like, for example, I'm out here all alone. Now, a few times I would invite people from the Ravenblood Discord or other groups to come out and LARP with me in the woods. And not many of them would really stay very long. It turns out that spawn killing them over and over. There's just people don't want to stick around if you do that too much. But sometimes I would get other people. I would get fans showing up. I would invite people to come out and LARP with me. And they were actually even worse. Because what would happen is, it really is a shame.
Yes.
Well, here's what would happen. I might as well just, whatever. Some the sort of fans would show up in Schitty, the few that I invited personally, and they would keep asking if I could give them any locks of the judge's hair, or asking what Jet's shoe size was, or asking if they could have any leftover trash Jet threw out in the dumpster so that they could write about it on 4chan, making fun of him that he could kill himself and he's the N-word for using an inferior brand of toilet paper or something, that sort of thing.
Yes, many a fans and many a follower, I'd imagine, would want to just taste even a second in the realm of Ravenblood and Schitty. We've talked about quite a bit of Schitty lore here. I must know, we have to have a little bit of tea, a little bit of juice that we can give to the fans. Anything that you can tell us about, Schitty or Blood Games at all, anything whatsoever. There are a lot of fans who, that was their favorite season, and they hold that in high regard.
Well, yes, of course, I can think of some. As to the question of will there be a Blood Games 2, the answer is there fucking better be. Or I'm going to be unquestionably mad, because that's been the thing that they've been using to string me along to live in literally a mansion filled with trash, where I have to step across discarded Marlboro boxes every day, and where I have to scavenge for food in dirty radiator rooms. I found a rat in there. I considered cooking it, like I'm playing Rust in real life, but I decided against it because I found more ramen. But there fucking better be, because I think I might as well just start tying a noose if there isn't. But I'm working on that. I've been busy at work on trying to find a way to make that happen. As for more scandalous rumors, perhaps.
He was kidnapped. Yes. This is a private conversation.
Hello,
Maybe we should walk somewhere else.
Yes, I don't want to be around that smell.
Hey! No, he's talking about the porta potty.
I'm just talking about the tuna stench that I found wafting around the town.
Well, I could spread some lore that would also double as a scandalous rumor, because I know that half the metrics you're going to get are going to be schizophrenic people who want to find some sort of petty gossip that they can gawk about, some person who is probably equally as dysfunctional as them, if not a little bit better, that at least has an audience while they do not. So I can give you a scandalous gossip and a piece of lore at the same time. It sort of doubles as both. But regarding Blood Games 1 and probably 2, how does that sound? Well, here, So have I told you about how the economy crashed in more detail? Have I told you about the John's embezzlement scheme? So he had this sort of like embezzlement. People know. Now, as people know, when I was mayor, I made a deal with him that, hey, if you make me mayor, I will put you on the city council. And so John has been running for city council and blah, blah, blah. And he wanted to rename the town Bendover. I don't know why. Bendover, Oregon, or something like that. It's some sort of gay porn site he used to go to, but regardless. He became the town council, and he was actually put in the treasurer role. And he embezzled all of it immediately. He stole it instantly. In fact, what we found had happened was that he had memorized the blind spots of the case. First, he had sewed a phone into his jacket, we're pretty sure, and he was getting his 4,000 boys to send him 6,000 coded messages that he would certainly be able to interpret and act upon before forgetting them immediately. And that would somehow give an advantage. But we believe that he had a contact with the outsiders, the outworlders, you see, the filthy outlanders. And further, he, as far as we know, memorized all the blind spots and where the Raven's eye could see. Mm-hmm. And that at night, the reason he wouldn't sit at the lodge was because he would actually go and sit in the tent, the campground. Yeah. And then when everyone fell asleep, he would go and he would sneak into the shops and he would just take all of the money. And we kept saying, where's all the money? It was day 4 or 5. Nearly every single person in the entire production had tried to confront him and get the money back. And as far as we know, he had buried it somewhere in the woods, like hidden treasure, like he's a pirate or something. Mike, the Goblin, and the Sodaman spent weeks stamping those coins. Those were custom made, and it was such a detail that few people even saw because they're so tiny.
Actually, in my podcast episode, you'll see, if you all watch, there's an episode we have of Soda Man, go check it out. Yeah, he literally said that him and Mike and you even, because with the writing, like, you guys were not only working 24/7, tired as fuck, but yeah, that they were pressing those coins individually in the woods before, like right before Schitty or the Blood Games began.
Yes. Yeah. So we put unbelievable amounts of work into that. Yeah. And this is how you know it's a labor of love, is because you want to work on tiny details that nobody will notice. Yeah. And you'll do it for far too much time. And that's the magic. And so we did all this work. And we find that after all of that, literally all of the money was gone. I think what we had is like 8 gold and 20 silver by the end. It became a genuine crisis. It was like a Zimbabwe-level inflation crisis. And to this day, we still do not know where the fucking gold is. We don't know. It's been almost a year, and we have not found the months of work that we put in stamping those coins because we're pretty sure John stole them and hid them in the woods. And that is the in and out of canon reason why, or one of the primary reasons why, the Schitty had a financial crisis. It's a type of story where choices have consequences, and that will affect Blood Games too, when and not if it does happen, because I don't want to live in the timeline where it's not a when and it's an if. I don't want to live in that world. I want to exist with that certainty. So when Blood Games 2 happens, that will be an important thing, is that there will have been a financial collapse, and that will still be rippling years down the line. That's one small effect.
Thanks a fucking
So there's your gossip, and there's your teaser, and whatever else.
But of course, it's one of the best things that has come from the fish tank world, so it has to come around again.
Yes. I mean, that's why I've stayed here for so long and been working with these people for so long, is that's really the only thing keeping me from roping myself. So, I mean, I have to go back and cast more spells. While doing a Sean Connery impression. That's what keeps me going. So I'm going to make that happen. I stake my name on it. I stake my lineage on it. That Blood Games 2 will happen. And if it doesn't, you can blame me. Because you're going to anyway. I know you people. You're going to find a way to blame me regardless. So why don't I just look like a cool guy by stating up front that, I promise it. I apologize if I've gotten in a bit of a sour mood, and I do want to say I don't dislike John. John actually seems...
yeah, you said that last time we talked. You really enjoy John.
I liked John, even out of the set, just him as a person. I like him. It's the sort of thing where autistic people just sort of link up with pheromones and they share brains with each other. And I could tell immediately that he was a kindred spirit. And so as much as I give him shit, it's because I know he can take it, because he's such a strong, badass alpha who loves the Bible or whatever he's doing. And he loves pimping out women on OnlyFans because he read an ebook of some weird guy who told him how to do whatever he's doing. It's cool and good, and I like him. And I would like to work with him again. I really hope that is able to occur. He hits me up a lot, actually.
Yeah, really?
And he asked me, hey, do you want to be friends after the show? And I said yes, and then my social anxiety got the best of me. Yeah. And so I hadn't really taken him up on that. But I do, if he lived closer, I think we would be going to the gym every day. But he doesn't live very close. That's one of the main things. I don't really have a lot of e-friends. Yeah, I actually keep to myself quite a bit, because I just don't care what the interpersonal drama I just could care less. I just want to sit there and write about my RPG games.
Yeah, he's pretty chill, though. Like, I've heard good things about him and the other people, because I know him and Vance are pretty tight as well.
Vance is the other guy that I would actually hang out with him off the show, because he seems very normal. I got to hang out with him a little bit on season 3 when I would come in, and I would send coded messages to my favorite schizophrenic person, but not that much.
Oh, no.
But
yeah,
yes.
Yeah, definitely a good guy. Definitely one of the more normal ones, because even myself, it's like, I'm not really like a typical MDE, fish tank kind of fan. I feel like that's why me and him got along, because, we're not like that typical basement dweller.
Well, yes, because I knew that I could trust you more and you were above the common stock, because the first question you asked me wasn't about the USS Liberty. And I knew that perhaps it would be more worth my time.
Because I think the biggest thing was, we can enjoy the entertainment, but not be wishing that Sam is our daddy or our best friend, which is kind of... man,
it's honestly, it's not that bad. It's half of it is that it's very amusing to us to joke about how insane the fact that our fans are basically K-pop fans but white. It's fun to joke about that, but it's not really that bad. I think Blood Games brought out the best in people, and as much as I shit talk those people, the part of the fan base that's unmedicated, it's because that is the language that you converse with them with. Yeah. If I were to talk to the 4chan people and I would say, you guys let's be friends, that would be like calling them the enemy.
They'll fucking stomp all over
like
you and shit. Yeah.
I hold really no malice towards any of those.
Oh, no, not at all. They like the abuse, or when you don't give a shit. When they get that back, they're like, all right, this guy's actually pretty chill or whatever, and actually tune in.
I wanted to talk about one way I'm keeping myself busy a bit, if you would indulge me. I've been tinkering with Linux a lot, you see. I'm actually soon releasing a distro called Ravensong, and I hope that people really like it. It's mainly used to make it easier to customize your Emacs environment. That's the entire purpose of the operating system. It's a groundbreaking system. It uses a meta package manager, which then uses a atomic immutable layer agnostic design paradigm to ensure it's an unparalleled power use of freedoms and capability. I'm reading from the GitHub page right now on my phone. It is also Debian based and uses stock GNOME and systemd. And now, before I get any flamer comments, yes, Eric, I've already fucking told you, the issue that you raised on GitHub was marked will not fix for a reason. And I will politely remind you that I am maintaining this distro as a hobby. It is in beta right now. You were invited to the closed beta. And I do not recall you donating to the Raven Song Distro Foundation. So if you could perhaps be a bit more polite and follow the codes of conduct that were posted in the pinned thread on the Discord, I would appreciate it, Eric. Excuse me, I'm right if my chat's like again.
With all this talk about technology, let's go to gaming here.
Oh yes, my favorite topic. I love this. I'm already happier. You put a spring in my step, have you not? Why, yes. Why don't I level my acrobatics after you talk about my favorite Japanese games? Yes, quite.
Plus one. So what are your favorite hack and slash video games besides Devil May Cry?
I mean, I played Dynasty Warriors for a while. I actually liked the Yakuza series more in terms of the minute-to-minute combat, the feel of it, especially, and many people will not enjoy this opinion, but Yakuza Kiwami 1, I think, has the best combat system in the series. It's gimped by the enemy and encounter design in a lot of ways, so that's kind of a shame, but I think that has, especially when you get to the Champions Ring from the arena and you fully unlock all the styles, because then the enemies have max aggression. They don't just take turns attacking you. They actually go in and really try to fuck you up. There's no pause between attacks, so you have to be good. And I of course, Devil May Cry is a work of fine art. But minute to minute, day to day, I find myself playing Yakuza more often.
Now,
there was
Kiwami,
a great
that was
tragedy.
The second one, right?
Well, it's
because it's 0 and
did
then
you really
Kiwami,
just fucking
right?
say that to me, Rez? It was the second one. I'm sorry. Could you? I'm going to give you a chance to correct yourself.
I just played the first one recently, the first time, and I love them. They're fucking amazing.
You played? Okay, which one did you play? Did you play Kiwami 1 or the original PlayStation, the original back in the early 2000s Yakuza 1? Which version did you play?
Like original, with the two guys, one has eye patch, the other is just Yakuza man.
Oh, are you fucking kidding me? That's 0. That's not 1.
The fuck?
No, I mean, I don't, that's probably one of the best ones, but it's not number 1, it's 0. Now, Rez, you are really great at some things, but you still have much to learn. I will have to educate you further in the future. Perhaps you know what we should do? We should have a gaming training session soon, me and you, and I should educate you further on these fine arts, because one of the parts of picking a squire to be in a court is you have to educate him on the gentlemanly topic so that he is able to more better converse with royalty in the polite manner and know of intricate topics such as how to best prepare a fine meal, a lavish dish, or in fact, which was the best in the series in terms of the Majima gameplay.
Yes.
So perhaps we could do that, and maybe I shouldn't give you so much trouble as I haven't been able to train you as much as I would like.
Well, at least we do know that at least you know this. I don't think Like a Dragon is better than the others.
Well, good. That's true. That's true. I didn't even bother. It's honestly shameful. But you know, one thing I'd like to talk to, if you'll indulge me a bit more in rambling about my hobbies, is it's such a shame to me, a great tragedy, that Yakuza Ishin was released. And on paper, it looks like the type of game I'd love. It's set in the Edo period in Japan, during the Meiji Restoration period, actually, I believe.
I love that. Rurouni Kenshin style.
Yes, it's wonderful, a wondrous time. And it seems, on paper, it would be so perfect, but the problem is that it's just too fucking easy. They made it too simplified. They dumbed it down. Because there is, and I checked, there is no way to increase the enemy aggression levels in the game. Now, it used to be in the past games, you could get an item like the Champion Ring, which I spoke of, which would make the enemies attack relentlessly. In Ishin, they all have inflated health pools, and they just sit there waiting for you to cut them down. It's something like that, yes. So it's really a shame. How much longer would you allow me to talk about the games that I like? How much longer, and before it becomes rude?
I'm a fucking geek when it comes to games. I don't really consider it rude.
Okay.
Pretty fucking cool.
Okay, good. This was the correct answer. Now, there's a few others that I like that are hack and slash, and a lot of these will not be surprising. It's not like I'm doing a fucking hot take or something, but Dwarf Fortress, quite wondrous. I don't like RimWorld as much, personally. I just feel like it's sort of and Dwarf Fortress Adventure Mode, it's really quite something as well. I see, that's my magic mirror is in fact running low on mana, I will in fact have to charge it with the Aether Crystal I brought. There's a few games that people always say that I should play, like Ninja Gaiden. I haven't played that, actually, because I was told that it was actually based on me, and therefore I already know all of the fighting styles.
One of my question was actually Ninja Gaiden or DMC?
Well, DMC, I think, just based on I haven't really played Ninja Gaiden much. Much of the reason I play these combat games, like melee combat games, is so that I can actually study the styles and use them myself in the field of battle, you see.
But of course.
So I spent a lot of time practicing, like, Thug style, for example. Like that. I get the stance down for Thug style.
Yes.
And of course there's Dragon style, which is really simple. I don't know why the fuck he dropped his lead fist so much. That seems like just inviting disaster, because you can still block with the knee. You don't really need the hand down here.
Indeed.
But maybe that's an element of his mastery. I don't know. Brawler is sort of unpolished.
Almost like how a guy would fight when he's robbing a convenience store, but with no guns.
Yes, a sort of Floydian type of martial art, you could say.
Your way of depiction is impeccable.
Of course. Why, I do quite thank you. Oh, yes, it is a shame, truly. And now, this is why I liked Majima. His fighting style was more skillful and agile. He didn't have the brawn to just punch people in the head over and over again, like Kiryu. And I identify with that somewhat.
Yes.
Being of a lithe nature, as if a cat pouncing on his prey. That is how I fight.
Very similar to, like, Metal Gear Solid 2, when Solid Snake has a little bit more of a slow, brutish, I don't really stretch much fighting style, and then Raiden has the little flip that he does where it's like, yes, I do gymnastics or some shit.
Yeah, something like this, yes. Now, in terms of other games, there's Crusader 2 Kings 2 with the Elder Kings mod. There's NetHack. Now, I grew up playing NetHack. It was a really good, that was a golden era. This was before they even had mostly the internet. This was back in the day of news groups and Usenet, things like that. But the NetHack, I was well known and a controversial figure in the NetHack news group, I'll say that. And nowadays I find myself playing more Dungeon Crawl Stone Soup. It is different, but I think in a good way. I like to play the shapeshifter character that gets new mutations each time you level. I find that that's a fun element of randomness that adds to the gameplay.
Oh wow, that's some old school shit right there.
People don't really understand how much older I am than most of the other people who work here, and I'm fine with that. I mean, I don't really take it personally or anything, but it's, yes.
Well, I doubt anyone else on the team is 800 fucking years old, or 8,000, or, well, you have multiple ages though, so this is quite complex.
Don't be rude. I'm 749. Do I really look 800 to you, Rez? Come now, I don't look.
You don't look a day over 200, sir. You know that. You moisturize so well.
Good. Yes, of course. But yes, of course, and there's Arknights. That's another Chinese mobile game that I got addicted to and spent too much money on. That's a good one. And I spent a lot of time developing that account, and I had a lot of fun with it. Once I unlocked Texas Alta, though, and the blonde, like, horse guy with the sword, who's just super fucking busted. He's supposed to be Polish. He's from Kazimierz.
I'm surprised you haven't seen Genshin Impact. You seem like, I've never played it, but you seem like you might have played around or two of that.
Yes, well, I mean, I've played enough Genshin to know it's something that it was fun for a while. I liked the exploration mechanics, and I liked the story, and that was nice. But I fell out of favor with it. I didn't stick with it for as long as I thought I might, frankly.
Have you played Warframe?
Anyway, Warframe? No, not particularly. I'm not really into that kind. It's very repetitive games.
Yes,
I'm more of a Diablo man when it comes to that. Warframe seems very similar to Diablo in that, and I just like the original. I like Diablo 2. I was actually number 7 on the ladder for
Warframe is quite different from Diablo. That's it's basically if Diablo had Raiden Metal Gear Rising Revengeance.
I see.
Like if a cyborg ninja was in Diablo in space, then maybe. But yes, definitely not like that.
This sounds interesting.
Oh, it's fucking cool.
I did see...
You would like it.
I did see some gameplay of it. A YouTuber who I look up to, he's really what I aspire to be as a YouTuber. I'm not really a YouTuber, but I want to be. I want to, start a channel or something.
Yes, who else? What YouTubers would one so great like yourself enjoy?
The one that I look up to the most, and I would really like to be like him in a lot of ways, is Zarek Zakharon. He is a well-known Bethesda YouTuber who's been at it for longer than most people. Now, he's in a similar age bracket to me, which is why I think that I click with him. And there's one as well, Patrician TV, is a wonderful channel that has a really high standard of research on Elder Scrolls games and Bethesda titles in particular. He made a 20-hour-long Skyrim analysis video, which I've watched 30 times or so, something like that. I wanted to watch the entire thing on the show. I wanted to have it on a projector, but the projector broke.
Can you fucking imagine editing that? My God.
It took him a year. It took him a full year.
Fucking hyperbolic time chamber.
Yes.
Yes, indeed.
You are a lover of all things Japanese, so are you familiar with Ice Poseidon traveling around Japan for 100 days kick streaming? And so I would wonder, would you ever do something like so? Streaming and walking around Japan for 100 days? And what would you do if you were in Japan for 100 days, Master?
I would have to drive out the Outlanders, obviously, and restore the Emperor. That goes without saying. I think I would have to hunt down these despicable tension whores and try to rid them from my ancestral homeland. I think that would be the first course of action. Well, you see, I actually, one of the reasons I wanted to go to Japan again is because I have been studying Weichi-Ryu. This is a type of karate, you see, and it is native to Japan, and it has very interesting lineage to it of the style and everything. And I wanted to go and study with some of the monks because my Chanshin is about as good as you could get from Western teachers, but of course it would fall short of the masters. But this is an interesting topic. I feel, however, that the Guaylo swine must be rid from my land at all costs, and they must be pushed into the sea and put to the blade. That is my official opinion on the matter.
These pesky gaijin.
Of course, yes. I can only imagine the fact that they would, I'm sure that they would enter a restaurant wearing their shoes, not switching to bamboo sandals, and not eat with chopsticks. I'm sure that they would make a mockery of themselves. God, how sickening. The lack of decorum, it makes me want to spit. Let's talk about something else that will make me less angry.
Speaking of the Japan 100 Days Ice Poseidon CX Crew crap, one of those streamers who's been going around Japan with all of those streamers is actually a Japanese woman named Nana. Nana was in the Fish Tank audition building talking with Jet Neptune and some others, and they asked her if she would like to be on Fish Tank, and I have a question for you. How would you handle yourself having a real Japanese woman on the Fish Tank, Master?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it depends on, does she have a thigh gap? What is the complexion? Does she have bangs? What, you got to give me some more detail to paint a picture here.
Well, I didn't fucking put her through a 3D scanner, Master. That'll be for you to judge.
I'm told that this is part of the rules of the tea ceremony, if a woman is mentioned, you must also send me a picture of them. But I would probably try to use some of the techniques that John taught me.
Maybe
I didn't really like being on BitchTank.
Oh, really? You didn't like that?
I was not a fan of that. You see, I showed up and they had to talk me into it. I was on the phone and I said, well, am I going to get to play video games? No, there's no video games there. Can I do D&D? Well, yes. So that's why I showed up. And it's really a shame. I liked the one Juliana. I got along with her pretty well. The sort of nerdy girl. But the others I found putrid and sickening. And so I found it somewhat boring.
You got to play more
I really
with
felt
Greg,
that.
at least.
That was good. You see, that's why I wish that I was on them. See, this is another story I can tell, I suppose. I spent so long planning that. I showed up, I believe Friday, and I spent all day building a DigitalOcean droplet with a friend of mine and running a Morrowind online multiplayer server. I had all this work put in so that the fans could play my favorite game with me, and we could play with Greg, and we could venture forth and slay foes. And then only to find that the netcode of the game, it was so terrible, it could not support my might. And this is despite having it on a very high-end droplet that we made. We made it so that it could be rapidly scalable to meet demand, and no matter how much resources we threw at it, it kept fucking crashing. And it was really a shame because I wanted to show up and just play games with Greg. I wanted to show up and play games, maybe even during the bit, and just ignore the women. There's one thing I like doing, it's ignoring crying women while I'm playing video games. So I would have liked to do that. But of course, the day I show up, I'm there for one evening and it ends. I didn't know it was ending, or else I wouldn't have spent all this time making this. It's really a shame. I just wish I could have played video games with Greg more. I liked Greg. Greg is a wonderful fellow.
Yes, of course. I'm actually working on a video game with Greg.
You are?
Yes, I'm actually, real talk. I'm playing the main villain, who is going to be Carrol the Magnificent on his video game. So that's pretty fucking exciting, man. Yeah, good.
How very enthralling.
Yeah. Actually, speaking of Greg, the great Greg Hellsing, did you catch Segregation?
No, I have not. I don't know it. I'm fighting to stay awake as you're telling me this tale. I don't really pay attention
well,
to...
Well, then drink a fucking Red Bull, then. Get some fucking Matador in your system and wake up. God damn it.
Well, I should probably do that. I mean, I haven't really had enough. Why don't I go and see if I can scavenge some, I guess. I might as well. Maybe I'll find some outside or something.
I do have a warning for you, sir. So,
yes.
Apparently the big streamer IShowSpeed has been traveling around China and training with monks, right? And the rumor of the internet is that he wants to fight you and says that he can kick your ass.
Well, I don't know who this is, but I'm certainly he's welcome to try. I would like to have something to do or keep me busy. I'd suppose that he's welcome to try, as any are. I need to keep my skills sharp, I suppose. So I hope that he is able to withstand the way of the piercing fist, a study that I have mastered many times over. We will see. The battlefield shall reveal the true victor of that.
He has no chance against you, sir.
Is it true that you speak not a lie, that he hath mentioned my glorious name in vain?
Yes.
Did you hear me? You speak not a lie. You promise this to me.
Yes.
What? Xavier, I cast a zone of truth. What, did he actually mention my name? Did he in fact taunt and beckon me into battle? Or have you tried to whisper words of deceit into my wonderful ears?
Sorry, there was static there. Couldn't hear you, Master. Sorry. Yes, next question, Master.
Well, whatever, it doesn't matter, I suppose. Yeah, why would I go out? You say IRL. As if this is IRL to me. This is my everyday life. What you're seeing here is as much RL as it becomes. And so I don't really have an interest in going out to gas stations and playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Against homeless people with Letty. I mean, that seems, I guess, amusing. Maybe there could be some sort of a random encounter that could be staged where I could defeat a foe. But I could also sit at home and masturbate. So, I mean, why wouldn't I do that? I'm just going to take the path of least resistance, wherever I can find my dopamine. And that's going to... So... I don't know. Maybe I'll stream myself playing video. You people watching this, why don't you tell me if you would have some interest in me playing a bunch of old video games that you've never heard of and mumbling about Linux for hours on end on a YouTube stream that will immediately get demonetized and taken offline for the words that I'm using. If enough people demand and beckon that, then maybe I'll do it, because I'm going to do it anyway. It really doesn't matter to me. And if there is an audience there, then sure. And if there isn't, then whatever. I'm still going to be doing the same thing. So maybe I'll do that. But I don't really feel like leaving the house. I was never much of a leaving the house type of guy, you see.
Anything that you can share about your future plans, or anything that you would like to do or see in Blood Games, that maybe people could get a little bit excited for?
Well, you see here, in terms of future pursuits of mine, I'm sure, I've spoken before of how I intend to host a sort of Blood Games rerun of sorts with clips and episodes and tales retold of past events from the first yearning of the Blood Games, the first Blood Moon Sacrament. I spoke of that many months ago. And you see, I was compiling these tales for the sake of retelling them. And I had gone quite a way through, and I was nearly finished when I had heard of a fellow bladesman, one by the name of Wataru Kanazuki, who had in fact amazingly, astonishingly crafted a work of art even greater than the one that I was crafting myself. And seeing that this work of art, I was mostly done with my entire thing. And then I said, well, he's already done what I was going to do. Why don't we just let him do it? And instead, now, here's the problem. I still have all these very, very large selection of clips laying around. And I may as well release them, because I've come this far. I may as well finish and release them. Although they're going to sort of change. It's not going to be a comprehensive retelling of the lore with everything involved. It's not going to be the whole... It's going to just be me. Because those are the parts that I edited first anyway, because those are the only parts I care about. Is when I'm being a cool badass and I'm killing people and I'm destroying them with my wonderful tongue and my wit. And yes, of course, and when I sing my wondrous words and defeat and vanquish those before me. So it will mostly just be a compilation of top 10 epic, funny, cool-based Xavier moments. But it will be quite comprehensive nonetheless, and that's something I do intend to release and perhaps let people wonder and ponder over my brilliance once more. Because I frankly do not trust any other historian to properly chronicle my pursuits. And my lineage, in fact, my glory must be known to the masses. In fact, they must wonder and marvel at my strength and brilliance. And so therefore this will soon be a gift given to all of you, whenever I get around to finishing it, of course. So that's something perhaps that could be looked forward to, is because what I want to do is I want to do some more YouTube type of things. And of course it will start out with these works that I've crafted of my top 10 epic funny based moments. And then it will devolve into other things. It will devolve into probably some things that are very uninspired. It's probably going to be me reviewing ramen while vaping, and you can't really hear what I'm saying because I'm eating the ramen into the microphone. So perhaps that could be looked forward to when I am not busy.
And I know you've been doing a lot of editing, and editing very gratuitously on the Blood Games episodes. How does the epic Xavier Ravenblood tackle a bad day and stress?
Listen to me and hear my words, for sure. I will give you the weapon necessary to vanquish your inner demons, traveler. Well, first I'll say, I'm not working that hard on the clips that I'm making for my own personal vanity. I was doing it a lot a while ago, and then I got bored, so I stopped for 6 months. And now I'm sort of getting around to finishing it off because, hey, this is fun again. Why don't I do this? I'm mostly doing this for fun, as I said. But nonetheless, you will hopefully see them soon. And as I was stating further, of how to vanquish your inner demons, perhaps. Oh, I sensed this was going to... Oh, no. What a precarious purse this is placed on. Oh, dear. You see, in order to vanquish my own inner demons, I do a lot of meditation. You see, meditation is not just sitting on the floor in quiet. Anything can be a meditation with a properly trained and cultivated mind. Many monks do something called a moving meditation. Yoga is a variant of this for a white woman, for example, or a walking meditation. Often some people will meditate on topic, thinking about, for example, puzzling the intricacies of the personality of Haruhi Suzumiya, for example. My meditation, it turns out, happens to be playing video games for 12 hours a day. So that's how I keep my mental health up. That's one of the things. One of the tools in my toolbox.
Oh.
I suppose that maybe this is not fruitful for me to remain in this tiny room. Why don't I get some fresh
scenery happened there?
Now, as a...
Whoa. Fucking all your booby traps are coming about.
Fucking piece of shit. It's thought that it could take me off guard. The poltergeist haunts me once more.
Haha.
There's a lot of traps around here. This is a funny trap that was laid for me by someone who works here, where they just put a bunch of screws all over, a bunch of sharp screws on the carpet, and nails, and broken bottles and glass. That's one of the reasons. Yes, well, it's to keep me on. I know they're doing it to keep me on my toes and keep my instincts sharp. It's just a matter of training. If anything, it's a compliment. That's one of the ways I negotiated being able to stay here, is to clean up after Burt's room. And I have a lot of experience in scrubbing out the sense of left behind by fervent masturbation. And therefore, I was the right man for the job. But I digress once more. I believe you're asking me about the topic of mental illness and how to cultivate the strongest mental illness to vanquish foes. Is this correct?
Yes. How does one tackle bad days and mental anguish and anxieties? Because I don't even know if someone as powerful as yourself can really comprehend such lowly feelings.
Well, yes, why don't I take a walk here? I have to urinate anyway, and the toilets are all backed up, so I guess we'll go do it in the woods again. Now, well, there's a few tools you could use for that. For example, I play the Donkey Kong soundtrack when I get stressed. The more that I'm thinking about Donkey Kong, the less that I am thinking about, for example, in community college when I went to do my presentation and the tabs on my browser were still up that I didn't want to be still up of the Mind Break Dojant I was reading. And I didn't realize that, and I was unprepared. But I was not worried about this because I was listening to the Kirby Air Ride soundtrack in my Sennheisers at the time. So it was not an issue. So that is one tool. Another concept I will relay from the wonders of the sages of the East is if you're not worrying about something, it doesn't exist. It's just an emotion, an illusion. There are many truths in life. I simply pick the truths that I want to experience, you see. For example, I would never deny that my bank believes that I am overdrafted on my account and that I owe them money. I just choose not to acknowledge it. I don't deny that they believe this. But if you've ever heard of Stoicism, I basically invented it. So my reality, the variant I choose to believe...
What was that? That's your previous home.
Oh, yes, I'm just grabbing an ornament because I don't know if there's any more foes out here. So I want to
Every time I have to take a piss, I have to go on an epic journey. Anyway, as I was saying, I choose to believe that it's not that my bank is overdrafted. Instead, I focus on the fact that I focus on the good things. I focus on the fact that my Arknights account is very well developed. And if I just spent a few more $100, I could get enough rolls on the gachapon to unlock the newest anime girl. And I focus on that fact that I'm doing quite well. My account is very well developed. I have most of the 6 stars already. And so when people ask me questions like, you're doing that, Xavier? How's that working out for you? Must have been the wind. Can you hear and see me now?
Excellent. Perfect.
Yes, very good. Now, as I stated, there are people who will ask me, oh, how's this going for you, Xavier? How's it going for you? I say, it's fucking great. How's it going for you? That you have a job at Citibank and you can't play Chinese mobile games for 12 hours a day. How's that going for you, Eric? Your job at Citibank. Oh, you're so special. You did what society expected of you and you followed the whims of your masters, wearing your tie as if a collar around the neck of a lowly dog. How's that working out for you? That you do not have the freedom to do as you wish and eat when you want, sleep whenever you want, play whatever games you want. God. Oh, I'm sorry. Look,
it's all right.
And one more thing. Could you still hear me?
Yes.
One more thing. Now, another tip for mental health. I say while walking around with a firearm in the woods alone. After having not spoken to another person in person in a week or so, the last time Jet let me come with him to Sitco. As I was saying, one other method you can use. Think of when something occurs that displeases you. Think of it not as a bad thing, but a change. It's simply a change. It is not bad that I cannot play games on my Xbox at home anymore because my dad threw away the Xbox. It's just different. It's a change. Instead, I play games at the free kiosk at Best Buy when I'm pretending to be out job hunting. It's just different. There's this movie I don't know if you're aware of called The Matrix. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's pretty much what I'm doing by opting out of the job market, opting out of dating, and blazing my own trail like a wolf running through the night. You see, I've defeated the system. Yes, I'm a blazing renegade. I'm a skull. I'm a dark skull who is burning with revenge. And I'm going to go nuclear. And I'm trying to remember the other things that were in that Metal Gear Solid D trailer, and I'm failing. But regardless, me being as people would say, a NEET, it's actually because I've cracked the code and broken the system. I'm like Neo in the Matrix. And I'm actually very satisfied. And I'm not having a crisis. I'm like Neo in The Matrix 2 when he's dancing in the cave, in the rave scene with Trinity. And before anyone comments that I dance around with sweaty brown people in a cave, in my version, they're all 5'3" busty Asians with thigh gaps and not brown people in a cave yelling at each other. To summarize my opinion on mental health, I wanted to kill myself and then I started watching Naruto and then it went away. Any questions?
You will be the Hokage.
Yes, I agree. I think I just got some of that in my eye. Yes, I did actually. It's kind of acidic.
I think your hair, might have
I'm not joking right now. My eye is stinging. Hold on, give me a second.
Yeah, do your thing, man.
Yeah, if I'm going to injure myself, then it's going to have to get at least 1,000 views. My magic mirror is running out of mana. I may have to leave you for now.
Yeah.
But we will rejoin once more and meet again. Yes, if not today, then eventually.
Absolutely.
For our paths are interlinked, and I really need to go rinse out my eye. I will see you soon, I am certain. Absolutely. Oh, God damn it. Stay away, motherfucker.
No, Master!
Stop!
No! Master! No! Master! Get off of him!
A pitiful ambush. You dare to attempt to thwart my will?
No.
Stand before me and vanquish!
No! Someone has to help him! Master, no! Get off of him! You fuckers! Get off of him!